Hey folks, and welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. As you might be able to tell by the smile on my face, the great Olexander Usyk delivered a complete and utter comprehensive beatdown on Britain's Daniel Dubois. Well, it was so much better and so much easier than I had feared. I had been praying that Daniel Dubois would lose, and this isn't because I am a hater of Daniel Dubois. It's just that I'm absolutely disgusted by the way that the bitterest man in boxing and his idiot son had been vilifying and disrespecting Olexander Usyk. And like Olexander Usyk said, don't push the horses. Well, the horses were pushed. And what do you get when you push a horse? You get put down on your ass. And as the Americans would say, this was an ass whooping of biblical proportions. Daniel Dubois entered the ring looking super focused, super aggressive, super angry, I suppose. Olexander Usyk entered the ring looking all business. When they faced off in the middle of the ring, Usyk looked all business. When it started, well, it was a mixture, in my view, of a magnificent boxing lesson followed by a complete and utter thumping. The notes I made as I was watching this, which are, pretty scrappy notes, Usyk was beating Dubois to the jab, making Dubois miss. Dubois looked tense. A faster start than normal from the great Olexander Usyk. In the second round, a boxing lesson was delivered, and at the end, Dubois was wobbled. In the third, I thought Dubois did a bit better in the third. I wouldn't have given him the round, but a bit better in the third. He actually, at one point, pushed Usyk backwards. Usyk, of course, did not touch down. He just, moved back a bit. This isn't a test of physical strength. This is a test of skill. And absolutely, in the skill quotient, there was one man who is elite and the other man was not. In the fourth, I had another boxing lesson being delivered by Olexander Usyk. He was simply picking Dubois off. Dubois seemed to have nothing that he could do. He couldn't hit Olexander Usyk. He couldn't sort of pin him in the corner, couldn't pin him on the ropes. There was no chaos unleashed. There was no by any means necessary unleashed. There was one blow, I think it may have been in the fourth, it could have been in the fifth, that got through, and it looked low to me, right around that belt line, more on the hip than in the bladder area. That would be on Usyk's left hip area, I would guess. And Usyk bounced back, gave him a little smile. In the fifth round, he caused Dubois to touch down. Dubois looked not so much hurt, but confused, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. He got up, he looked fine. He didn't look like he was, all wobbly. He looked fine. But a few seconds later, he was given the coup de grace. He was put down again, and on this occasion, he stayed down. Could he have beaten the count? I believe that there are boxers who would have beaten that count. Daniel Dubois is not one of those boxers. This was an absolute masterclass of kicking ass and beating down and demonstrating that in every single facet of the game, Olexander Usyk was the absolute master of Daniel Dubois. And to show what an incredible sportsman he is, he went over to the corner afterwards. He even hugged it out with Don Charles, who, quite frankly, doesn't deserve anything from Olexander Usyk, let alone the generosity of a sportsman-like hug. But maybe that horse has now been flogged sufficiently that the bitterest man in boxing will learn some humility. Where does Daniel Dubois go from here? Daniel Dubois has got a great future. There's a lot of top heavyweights who wouldn't have a cat's chance in hell against Daniel Dubois. But unfortunately, they ain't named Olexander Usyk. Could Tyson Fury have boxed the ears off Daniel Dubois? Yeah, probably. Maybe. Is there anybody else who could beat Daniel Dubois? I'd fancy Parker, but who knows? There's only one Olexander Usyk. And so a loss to Olexander Usyk, as comprehensive as a ass whipping that this was, is nevertheless a loss to a modern great. And somebody who is, definitely going to be in an all-time great conversation. Where does Olexander Usyk go from this? I'd like to see him retire, of course. He probably won't. He'll have one more fight, and then people will continue to ask for one more. Let's hope he doesn't go on too far. But for the moment, let's celebrate the great Olexander Usyk's comprehensive, every minute of every round whipping of Daniel Dubois. No controversy. An incontrovertible ass whipping. I am absolutely ecstatic, as you can tell. So, thanks for watching. If you're an Usyk fan, crack open those beers. If you're a Dubois fan, well, fire your trainer because he has damaged your fighter's reputation. Rebuild. Come again, because Daniel Dubois could do exceptionally well against virtually every other heavyweight on the planet. But not Olexander Usyk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and have a fabulous evening wherever you are. Bye-bye.